Welcome to the pilot episode of C7 Sessions. Today we're going to be discussing the so-called death of the high street and how retailers potentially can use digital and online marketing to diversify their resource. So rather than shrinking, just make it work for them elsewhere. Perception of the high street dying. We've got two generations, because you two are roughly the same age and I'm really old, with me today. I've got Josh and Tommy. My perception of the high street at the moment is that it's a lifeless place, to be honest. I don't enjoy going to the high street. However, my wife and my two young children, they perhaps go there for something to do. She might go there for something that she needs on the spot, etc., etc. But she'll come home and moan about it the entire time. So for me, the high street has a place, but it's absolutely not what it was. It doesn't represent the whole of retail, though. I think that's the key here. Guys, from your perception as in your early 20s, what are you thinking of the high street?
I hate it.
Strong. It's a strong one.
Strong start.
Go on.
It's not. No one ever wants to go to the high street, especially not me. I don't want to go and look through stores. As soon as you go in, you get badgered by some salesperson. I don't really want to talk to them. If I ever go in, it's because I need something drastically, quickly.
Right.
Or I've forgotten to buy something online.
That even an Amazon Prime delivery can't satisfy.
Well, you're not a Prime member, mate.
Oh, rookie. Absolute rookie. Tommy?
I don't mind the high street whatsoever. I think it's in a declining position. However, I think a second wind will come through soon with the technology advancements that a lot of stores around the world and in capital cities like London, China, they're just going to grow from there, in my opinion.
So that's really interesting, actually, because we've got two guys that are the same age that have a very difference of opinion on how the high street is panning out for them. How do we feel retailers could improve what they are doing online to perhaps cover off some of the losses that they are feeling offline? I'll give you an example, and you can tell me if you experience this with what you're doing.
Yeah.
I find that very much in retail online, particularly in the affiliate marketing field, which is obviously what we specialise in, it's a pure play CPA, always a pure play CPA, very much incentivised. You've got your huge players that we obviously do a lot of business with, Top Cashback, Quidco, that do a fantastic job. What I see a lack of is lead generation within the big branded retailers, potentially playing perhaps the longer game to build up the brand on a slower scale, but actually perhaps for more sustainability. Do you guys get that? Do you get where I'm coming from there?
Yeah, 100%. I'm in complete agreement. With a lot of the CPA campaigns, it's normally a quick win for the advertiser. However, with the CPL campaigns, you're getting the user very early in their buying cycle, therefore pushing that brand towards the user. So you might get them at a very early stage in their cycle. You've shown them a few products and they might pick one or two. From there, you might actually have a customer for life as you've caught them on early in their cycle. They're going to be familiar with your brand from the very, very beginning. Whereas on a CPA campaign, your only destination is that one product that you're trying to push. Once you've got that product, if they're not familiar with your brand, it's pretty much going to be just that. What about you, Josh?
I understand why they go for CPA. It's easy, where CPL is a much harder play. You have to be able to build that relationship with that lead.
Yeah.
Through a much longer life cycle than you would just a straight CPA play.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. It's tough. If you don't have that kind of customer attention and being able to build that brand with them, then you're not going to get any kind of ROI from a CPL.
Do you think the brands that do have that customer attention focus are the ones that ultimately last longer?
Yeah, definitely.
And have that ultimate success?
Definitely. If you can build a long-lasting relationship from a simple email sign-up through to, you know, a customer becoming a lifelong, you know, ambassador
Yeah.
for your brand,
Yeah.
that's going to last so much more
Yeah.
and give you so much higher ROI than a straight up CPA campaign will ever will.
Get it. Okay. Something else that I just wanted to briefly touch on, while we're kind of going down the road that retail as a bricks and mortar industry is on its way out, there are retail environments that are actually thriving. We talked the other day about, I went to a retail outlet at the weekend, couldn't get parked for 10, 15, 20 minutes. My worst nightmare, especially with 2 screaming children in the car. So for me, I looked at that, and although I was frustrated, as an ex-retailer, I'm looking and thinking, you know what, some retail environments are thriving, this is great, this is really good to see. Do you guys, in your experiences, see other retail environments that actually don't fit into this video of the high street is dead?
I wouldn't be able to say that myself, to be honest. What about yourself, Josh?
Not particularly. There's specifics like stores like Hamleys, which do a fantastic job of engaging young kids. They can go run into a store and play with anything they want, and there's always people there to show them how to kind of work with different toys. And
Yeah.
Those kind of environments where where the brand and they're having a retail store and they're creating an actual kind of experience for the user.
That's the key word, isn't it? Experience.
That really follows through.
Okay. It's interesting you say actually about Hamleys, because you mentioned the other day about a Nike store that does a similar thing.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, so Nike actually recently started doing some testing with a lot of AR, VR and then holograms, and I saw a post on LinkedIn that showed a hologram of one of the shoes in the Nike store right at the very front, and it looked pretty cool. But then what made it, perfect for me was the fact that they could mould any shoe that Nike had into this hologram. So regardless of where it is in the world, you can actually see the shoe in person, the size and the fit, and get it ordered straight to that store if you like the shoe that much. And it diversifies a store which could only have maximum 300 to 400 trainers to around about 30 to 40,000. I wouldn't know the inventory myself in one store, and I think that diversifies the shop so much more, and you can have a lot more opportunity to get the shoes that you may want.
Would it make you go?
Yes.
So instead of just taking that opportunity to say, I'm sitting at home in my armchair, I'm going to buy some shoes, I'll look online, I've got the whole catalogue of what Nike do at the flick of a thumb or whatever, that would physically make you say, I'm not going to do that, I am going to make the effort to go into that shop.
Personally for me, yeah. It would probably be more of a preference thing. I like meeting people face to face. I think it's a nice, enjoyable experience from a day and age where you're on the phone a lot, you're online a lot, and digital can be, I don't know what the word would be, but it can be quite...
you can say it. Boring?
Boring, yeah. I was going to say it.
It's convenient shopping, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's convenient shopping,
yeah.
And some people aren't that fussed when they want convenience. They're not worried that it's boring or it's mundane or it's very samey and repetitive, because they want what they want it now, and much of online provides that.
Yeah.
I guess from an experience point of view, would you say that if a retail outlet gets it right in terms of an experience point of view, would you say that online can actually match that experience ever?
I think it can come close. I wouldn't know how they'll be able to get it to work perfectly in sync, so it feels like you're going from the store to the online experience.
Which is the trick, isn't it? That's what people need to ultimately achieve.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to say if it's possible or not, because my creative juices aren't flowing that much. But I definitely see there is a place for it, and if someone can explore it a bit more, I'd be all up for that myself.
Okay. It's interesting, Josh, you spoke about Hamleys. Being interactive, and the kids are going in and they feel like it's just their playground. And we all know that children in general, well, you guys don't, because it's been a while since you were a child, but not as long as it was since I was a child, and I've got my own children, but we kind of all know that if children go into a shop and they see something they want, 9 times out of 10 they're going to end up getting what they want at some point down the line. I went into another toy retailer recently. It's always been very interactive. Always been bikes off the shelf, ride-ons off the shelf, kids riding up and down. From a staffing point of view, I get that that's probably a nightmare, but from an engagement and a customer experience point of view, it's perfect. That same retailer has now chained up all of those products. So they're actually going backwards.
Yeah.
For me, that's massively backwards. They needed to build on what they had and actually work that to create even more of an experience for that child and the parent. And they've kind of gone backwards to 20 years ago. And I think that's a really bad move for that particular retailer.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's a shame that, you know, something that's so interactive creates such a great environment, especially kids.
Yeah.
They love to just go in and just start playing with things.
Yeah.
Take things off the shelf.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
To not be able to have that, you've got to see it like an effect in their sales just because of
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how do you size up? How do you measure your child for a bike, for a ride-on, for a scooter, for a whatever? You have to, without asking a member of staff. And as we all know, in the retail outlets, everyone runs on skeleton staff.
Yeah.
How often do you try and find someone and there's no one there?
Yeah.
So, you know, again, that engaging experience that you're talking about with Hamleys, you're talking about with Nike, there are retailers that are getting it right.
Yeah.
But there are also some that unfortunately are getting it wrong. Is there anything you feel that, apart from that experience, that stores can offer that online can't? Or do you feel that what advertisers and brands need to do is actually accept that the market is shifting and put all their energies into creating that experience that you can get offline, online?
You'll never be able to truly replicate what you can get in a store to online.
Okay.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Walk into a store to load up a browser in your laptop, go to a store, it's extremely different, two different experiences.
Yeah.
But a lot of people prefer the convenience of the browser over the store. What brands really should be looking at is using their in-store to create an environment and experience for their customers, not even trying to sell to them when they go into store, and then use that and push them into an online kind of, you know, brand building, you know, customer relation building.
So almost not necessarily measuring their direct ROI at retail level and using the retail outlets that they decide are still worthy of being there as that brand experience creator, that then when those people go online, they always go back to that shop or that online shop because they've had that experience that stayed in their mind, rather than just flitting between, because no one's ever created that or built that trust in that person.
Exactly that, but retailers don't look at the
No,
ROI.
they don't.
They're just purely what store does what in terms of sales. If it's not cutting the cloth, they're gone.
Okay. Last question then, really on this topic. We talk about everything online, performance-based, which obviously is what we do, is about ROI. It's about measuring the success of an ad campaign.
Yeah.
What about if the retailers do decide our money is better spent here online, because that's where we need to get our reach, and this is shrinking offline?
Yeah.
There's only so much performance-based exposure you can get. But what about if they're investing more money in growing that brand online? They're not necessarily going to immediately see the direct ROI, but should they be redistributing that resource, that energy, into growing the brand online, making more people aware of it, putting it in more people's faces, so they're not just defaulting to Amazon or defaulting to eBay, that they are growing a uniqueness about them? Should they be pooling that resource and putting it there and accepting this decline?
Personally, I don't think so. I think it would be quite circumstantial based. I think a lot of the big brands that we've got nowadays should continue with the retail side of things and try to develop just that side of things, as well as the online business, keep things the same. Try and get that experience in the stores and try and keep people seeing that brand on a daily basis rather than just when they go online. A lot of new companies that haven't really got their brand out there nowadays, they're not really going to get a place in retail. I think they should continue with the online branding and just really push it out with that method until a point where you see them online, you know who they are, then they can try and bring the service to retail. It is quite risky going into retail at the moment because of the amount of stores that are shut in, so keeping it to them big brands that are already established, I think, would be the best way to go forward.
Okay.
Josh?
Yes, I kind of disagree at that point. I can understand it. Retail is very, very expensive, but if you can use it to create, you know, a lot of brands are doing pop-up shops where they have a massive online presence, massive community. They feel through like social, and they're using little pop-up shops in like London, Birmingham to actually really engage with their users in a much different way than retail ever has. Those kind of retail stores are doing fantastic with them.
They're awesome.
You know, they get queues like
Yeah.
miles down the road. You know, that sort of thing works really well. So like focusing more on building branding online, and then maybe brands should look at doing more kind of smaller retail pop-up stores, that sort of thing.
And focus on the experience.
Yeah, experience is
The
key.
outright experience that actually drives people into these buildings, that gives them something they just simply can't get online.
That's right, something that makes them go, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for today. Thank you for that collaboration. As I said at the start of this video, this is episode 1. If we seem wooden, it's probably because we are. You can feel free to critique or add your comments or your thoughts, obviously, in the comments below. I think generally the roundup of today is that possibly experience in the retail outlets is key. There's a lot that brands could be doing online, more of a lead generation, slow burn process that develops that trust over time, that perhaps makes them more sustainable, rather than just constantly always doing the CPA play. Definitely something to consider. I've been banging on about that for a long time in these 4 walls, but perhaps now we've talked about it a bit more widely. Someone might take notice. That's it. From me, from him.